Go and make preparations. The pill refinement will begin this afternoon. If the medicinal pill is refined, it can be considered to have removed a heavy burden in my heart. I am a little curious about what ability that Xiao Yan possesses. Hopefully, he really lives up to my expectations. Few minutes later, there was a spacious square that was built from crimson-colored mountain rocks in the middle of the valley. The middle of the square had a stone stage that was over 100 feet tall. There were quite a number of human figures currently around this square. Most of the people were wearing red clothes. Clearly, they were the disciples of the Burning Flame Valley. There was a somewhat tall platform located on the other side of the square. Its height might not be comparable to the towering stage in the square, but it was coincidentally able to overlook the entire place. The view from that spot was extremely good at this moment. Quite a number of people were standing on this platform with their hands behind their backs. If one were to carefully examine them, they would see that they were those so-called alchemist Grandmasters from the large hall. Earlier, the rushing sound of wind materialized amid the private conversations that were going on in the square. Immediately, 4 figures rushed over from the distance and gently landed on the stone stage. Their figures were revealed to be the valley chief of the Burning Flame Valley, Tang Zhen, the red-clothed lady called Xiao Yan, and the external eld of the Pill Tower. Grandmaster Huan, the appearance of Tang Zhen caused the private conversations around the square to weaken. All the disciples of the Burning Flame Valley present knew that Tang Zhen was going to join hands with 2 alchemist Grandmaster to refine a medicinal pill. Naturally, they did not dare to randomly make any noise, fearing that they would interrupt the refinement of the medicinal pill. Tang Zhen landed. His gaze slowly swept around him, after which he turned his head and looked to Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan. He smiled as he asked, "Are the both of you prepared?" Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan nodded when they heard his question. The medicinal pill that the old me wishes to refine this time around is called the Fire Bhatva pill. It is a Tier 7 high-grade medicinal pill. This is a portion of the medicinal formula. The 2 of you will get 1 each. All you need to do is follow the instructions on the medicinal formula during the refinement and perform your allocated task. Tang Zhen waved his hands and 2 scrolls flew to Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan, respectively. The 2 of them hurriedly received the scroll, after which they immediately inserted their spiritual strength into them, swiftly remembering the medicinal formula in their minds. After around 10 minutes or so, Xiao Yan finally opened his closed eyes in a slow manner. The medicinal formula recorded in the scroll was incomplete. There was only a portion of it. It was likely that Tang Zhen did not wish to allow the 2 of them to learn the complete medicinal formula. However, Xiao Yan had no objections. A Tier 7 medicinal pill formula was extremely rare. How was it possible to randomly give it to another person? However, just a portion of the medicinal pill is already so complicated. I wonder just how complicated the full formula is. It is indeed worthy of being at the Tier 7 high grade. Although Xiao Yan had only seen a portion of the medicinal formula, he was able to vaguely tell the difficulty of refining this medicinal pill. "Have the both of you finished reading?" Tang Zhen smiled and inquired after seeing Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan open their eyes. The both of them nodded. "It is likely that refining this medicinal pill will require a long time. Therefore, both of you should be mentally prepared. Do not allow any accidents to occur." Midway through Tang Zhen's expression was a little solemn when he spoke. He greatly valued this pill refinement. If it were to fail, it would result in quite a big blow to him. Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan were both experienced people. They were clearly aware of this point and did not make any objections. The old me is not an alchemist and does not have as precise a control over my spiritual strength as the both of you. Hence, I will perform the refinement of the medicinal ingredients. However, the merger of the medicinal ingredients will depend on the both of you. Take Zhen pointed to 2 sides. After speaking, there were 2 stone seats there. If there is no problem, please take a seat. Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan exchanged glances. They smiled and nodded to each other, after which their bodies moved, and they appeared on the stone seats, after which the both of them sat down. Tang Zhen's feet pressed on the ground. After seeing that the 2 of them had taken their seats, his body appeared on a rock chair on another side. With a glance at the red-clothed lady beside him, he commanded in a deep voice, "Do not allow anyone to interrupt us during this pill refinement period." "Yes, father." The red-clothed lady called Huo, or lowered her chin slightly. Her pretty eyes swept around and stole a glance at Xiao Yan, after which she leapt down from the stone stage and began to organize the disciples of the Burning Flame sect, tightening the defenses of this area. After arranging everything appropriately, Tank expression gradually turned solemn. He waved his sleeve, and one could see an enormous item flying out of his storage ring, after which it landed heavily in the middle of the stone stage. Its heavy weight caused the stone stage to tremble a little. Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan looked at this 10-foot large medicinal cauldron. The medicinal cauldron was fiery red in color. There were numerous drawings of volcanoes erupting on the walls of the medicinal cauldron. A wave of violent aura would pounce on one when one glanced at it. Xiao Yan had just taken a look at this fiery red medicinal cauldron when he became aware that the quality of this medicinal cauldron was likely not poorer than his 10,000 beast cauldron mountain melting kaolin. This is something on the heavenly cauldron ranking. It is unexpectedly held in Valley Chief Tang's hands. How it leads one to feel envious. Grandmaster Huan looked at this fiery red cauldron. The envious look in his eyes was extremely dense. I only found it through good luck back then. Tang Gen smiled, after which he waved his sleeves once again. One could immediately see densely packed medicinal ingredients continuously flying out of his storage ring, after which they lingered in the air above this stone stage. From the looks of it, there were at least 100 of them. A dense medicinal fragrance spread the moment these medicinal ingredients appeared. Clearly, they were not ordinary items. The requirement many medicinal ingredients in order to refine this Firebotva pill did indeed live up to its reputation of being a Tier 7 high-grade medicinal pill. Tang Gen's expression became more and more solemn after these medicinal ingredients were summoned. He clenched his hand, and a silver-colored flame surged. 9 fire dragons swam around within it, emitting a shocking dragon. Might Grandmaster Huan consume this medicinal pill? It will allow the 9-dragon lightning flame to feel a little more affinity with you. Thus you will be able to endure for a longer time. Tang Gen tossed a silver-colored pill to Grandmaster Huan. He immediately glanced at Xiao Yan and smiled as he asked young friend Xiao Yan, "You don't need this thing, do you?" Xiao Yan nodded. His soul was protected by the glazed lotus heart flame. This 9-dragon lightning flame might also be a heavenly flame, but it was unable to do anything to him. Tang Gen smiled when he saw Xiao Yan's response. He flicked his finger and the silver-colored flame rushed out. It immediately entered the mountain-melting cauldron. With a kai sound, it transformed into a fierce flame. The 9 small fire dragons within it swiftly expanded, after which the dragons opened and closed its mouth as they swam within the medicinal cauldron, spitting out numerous silver-colored flames. Since everyone is ready, let's begin. The smile on Tang Gen's face was withdrawn as he solemnly spoke while looking at the silver flames rising within the medicinal cauldron. A glaring glint shot out of both of Tang Gen's eyes the moment his voice sounded. Both of his hands grabbed at the empty space. The medicinal ingredients floating in the air immediately rushed down, after which they were continuously thrown into the medicinal cauldron. These medicinal ingredients had just entered the medicinal cauldron when the 9 fire dragons let out deep dragon roars and pounced over immediately. They swallowed them in one go. The fire glow on their bodies suddenly became dense, while Tang Gen began to refine medicinal ingredients. Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan hurriedly focused their minds. Their spiritual strength surged from between their brows and swiftly entered the medicinal cauldron under the protection of their own flames. The two of them sensed the frightening temperature within the cauldron the moment their spiritual strength entered it. It was still all right for Xiao Yan. But the expression of Grandmaster Huan changed a little. The 9-dragon lightning flame inside was even stronger than during the test. However, it was fortunate that Tang Gen had given him a medicinal pill earlier. Otherwise, it was likely that he would have difficulty enduring for a long time. The first batch of medicinal ingredients is about to complete their refinements. I will leave the matter of merging them to the both of you. Tang Jen's voice suddenly sounded beside their ears a short while after their spiritual strengths entered the medicinal called. Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan felt their heart tense the moment they heard his voice. Their minds flipped through the first part of the medicinal formula as they prepared to act. Around 20 minutes or so later. The 9 fire dragons in the medicinal cauldron suddenly shook. Their enormous mouths were opened as cluster after cluster of substances that contained extremely dense medicinal fragrances spat out of their mouths. These substances were the essence medicinal strength that were left behind by those medicinal ingredients. Some were in starch form, while others were in liquid or solid forms. At this moment, they were all suspended within the medicinal cauldron. These pure medicinal strengths that had just had their impurities removed had just appeared when Tang Gen's solemn voice, quickly followed Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan, inhaled a deep breath of air when they heard Tang Gen's words, after which their spiritual strengths swept out with their respective knowledge of the medicinal ingredients. They began to separate some of the medicinal liquids that belonged to the medicinal formula, after which they used their spiritual strengths to wrap around them. Their respective flames surged out and began to slowly merge these refined medicinal strengths. According to the instructions on the medicinal formula with the sweeping spiritual strength of Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan, the medicinal ingredients suspended in the medicinal cauldron were completely swept away. The both of them were, and alchemists with extremely great experience. Although it was the first time they cooperated, no flaws occurred. Tang Gen sighed in relief when he saw these two people working precisely without making any mistakes. A thought immediately passed through his mind as another batch of medicinal ingredients were sucked into the medicinal cauldron, after which he began the refinement once again on the platform, a short distance away. The alchemist Grandmasters hurriedly threw their attention over when they saw that the pill refinement had begun, when they saw that Xiao Yan was able to easily keep up with Tang Gen and Grandmaster Huan's pace. Their faces became somewhat unnatural. This was especially the case for that Grandmaster Mo. His expression was the ugliest. Earlier, he had even said that Xiao Yan was only able to pass the test because he was relying on the might of the heavenly flame. However, this current scene was just like a ruthless slap to his face, because he clearly understood in his heart that even if he personally joined the refinement, it was impossible for him to follow the refinement pace of Tang Gen, and a Tier S alchemist, Tang, whose pretty eyes were staring unblinkingly at the stone stage from the side of the square. She only sighed in relief when she saw that Xiao Yan did not appear to panic. She immediately smiled and softly muttered, "Looks like father's eyesight is quite precise. This fellow is not some country bumpkin who only know how to make excessive demands. However, I wonder if he will be able to help father successfully complete this pill refinement." The refinement of a Tier 7 medicinal pill was an extremely troublesome matter. This Fire Bhatva pill, being a high-grade Tier 7 high pill, was even more troublesome to refine. Silver-colored flames furiously burned within the medicinal cauldron on the stone stage. A low dragon roar was repeatedly being emitted from within it. The high temperature had caused the surroundings of the stone stage to become slightly distorted. Many medicinal ingredients lingered in the air above the stone stage. Occasionally, they would be thrown into the medicinal cauldron with a wave of Tang Gen's hand, after which they would be swallowed by the 9 fire dragons within. However, it must be said that it was extremely convenient to use the 9 dragon lightning flame to refine medicinal ingredients. The 9 fire dragons were just like 9 small versions of medicinal cauldrons. They could perfectly refine these medicinal ingredients. Of course, Xiao Yan clearly understood that these 9 fire dragons were ultimately still under Tang Gen's control. But his control over the flame temperature had reached a peak. His attention was split into 9. But one could not find the slightest mistake. One could imagine that if Tang Gen really possessed the qualification to become an alchemist, his achievement in the alchemist field would not be low. Xiao Yan felt somewhat unable to see through Tang Gen by relying on his exceptionally sharp senses. He could vaguely sense that he was a frightening existence. However, it was difficult for Xiao Yan to sense anything through his aura. It was likely extremely appropriate to use the description of unfathomable to describe him. Although Tang Gen was a giant with an extremely terrifying strength, he was quite courteous when dealing with others. he did not possess the arrogance of an elite dozun. Perhaps it was because he had a friendly character or that he had hid himself too deeply. But Xiao Yan ultimately maintained a healthy amount of fear for him. How could an ordinary person become the leader of a faction like the Burning Flame Valley? It was the first time that Xiao Yan had attempted this kind of cooperation to refine a medicinal pill. However, there were no flaws. His pill refinement experience was not weaker than anyone present. Moreover, his task was the simple merger of the pure medicinal strengths with his current spiritual strength. This was not considered too difficult, moreover, by owning the glazed lotus heart flame, he did not feel threatened by the might of the 9-dragon lightning flame. Within the fire cauldron, the stone stage was completely silent. Only the sound of a fire burning was emitted. Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan had their eyes shut. They focused their minds and controlled their spiritual strengths in the medicinal cauldron. A jade-green glow was vaguely visible within the silver-colored flame that was sweeping all over the medicinal cauldron. The interior of this cluster of jade-green flame was occupied by Xiao Yan's spiritual strength. At this moment, many different types of medicinal ingredients that had been successfully refined were gradually merging together at an extremely slow speed under his precise control. A slight sound suddenly appeared from the quiet jade-green glow. When one's gaze shifted over, one would see a drop of colorful, viscous liquid appearing within it. A dense medicinal fragrance was seeping out of the liquid. Just this first merger step has taken up nearly 3 hours. This Tier 7 medicinal pill is indeed unusually cumbersome to refine. Xiao Yan let out a gentle sigh after having merged the many medicinal ingredients into this colorful, viscous liquid. Immediately, his heart became tense. He knew that this was only the beginning refining. A Tier 7 medicinal pill was not something that was as easy as he had imagined after having sensed the difficulty of refining this Tier 7 medicinal pill. Xiao Yan involuntarily rejoiced a little if he had not luckily entered that mysterious condition when he was helping Qian refine the medicinal pill at the Inner Academy. It was likely impossible for him to successfully refine the medicinal pill with his alchemist skill back then. Now that he thought of it, luck was indeed the main reason for his success. However, with my current strength, it is likely that my chances of success would increase significantly if I refined it again. Moreover, there is no need for me to place my hopes on entering that mysterious condition. Satisfaction surged in Xiao Yan's heart when he thought of this. It was wonderful that he was able to reach this stage. Young friend, Xiao Yan is indeed surprising he has completed the initial merger so quickly. Tang Zhen's voice suddenly sounded beside Xiao Yan's ear. Clearly, he was extremely surprised at Xiao Yan's quick efficiency. It should be known that the external elder from the Pill Tower, Grandmaster Huan, had yet to complete the initial merger. At this moment, Xiao Yan merely smiled at Tang Zhen's surprise, after which he transmitted his voice over Valley Chief Tang. Is the second portion of the medicinal ingredient completely refined? It has been waiting for a while. Tang Zhen laughed. A thought passed through his mind as the 9 fire dragons abruptly widened their mouths. Numerous medicinal ingredients that had completed their refinement were once again spat out. A portion of it was separated before entering the jade-green light where Xiao Yan's spiritual strength was located. The refinement of the Fire Bativi pill is divided into 8 portions. This is currently only the second portion. However, with the both of you lending your hands, it is likely that the chances of success this time round will be very high. 8 portions. Xiao Yan could not help but quietly become speechless. This was indeed worthy of being a Tier 7 high-grade medicinal pill. Xiao Yan swiftly focused his mind after exclaiming in his heart. After which he began to merge the second portion of pure medicinal strengths, a short while after Xiao Yan had begun merging the second portion. The Grandmaster Zan slowly opened his tightly shut eyes. His heart was quite shaken when he glanced at Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan's performance had really exceeded his expectations. This young man called Xiao Yan is likely also a Tier S alchemist. Such talent is really outstanding, and brilliant Grandmaster Huan gently sighed in his heart. His spiritual strength swept over the interior of the medicinal cauldron. He sucked the second batch of refined medicinal ingredients. Essences over and once again began the merger. The tediousness of this fire Botva pill refinement had somewhat exceeded Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan's expectations from the looks of it. This pill refinement was definitely a time-consuming task. It was likely that they would not be able to successfully refine this medicinal pill if they did not have 10 days' time. 10 days of continuous pill refinement without rest would be extremely exhausting, especially when they had to place a portion of their attention to block the corrosion of the high temperature of the 9-dragon lightning flame. It exhausted their spiritual strength while they merged the medicinal ingredients. Xiao Yan was still all right in terms of this. However, Grandmaster Huan's body was vaguely unable to endure any longer after reaching the 5th round of the merger of medicinal ingredients. It was fortunate that he had prepared quite a number of medicinal ingredients to recover his strength. Otherwise, it would likely be extremely difficult for him to endure. Time swiftly flew by as the many medicinal ingredients suspended in the air above the stone stage gradually reduced if one counted the time the pill refinement was approaching the 7th day. During these 7 days, the 3 people on the stone stage did not show the slightest activity. The only change was the thick medicinal fragrance that seeped out of the medicinal cauldron. All the alchemists on the platform, not far from the stone stage, looked at Xiao Yan, who had endured for nearly 7 days. The solemnness on their faces became denser after seeing Xiao Yan's performance. During these 7 days, there was no longer anyone who dared mock him because they knew that if they were in his place, they would not be able to last until now. If I have guessed correctly, this Xiao Yan should also be a Tier 7 alchemist. An alchemist from the platform suddenly sighed as he spoke. Everyone was stunned when they heard these words. They immediately let out bitter laughs. This matter was something that was a little difficult for them to accept. They had only obtained this achievement through many years of bitter training, yet a young man who appeared to be in his 20s had surpassed them. Grandmaster Mo's eyes were startled as he looked at the stone stage. His face contained a defeated expression. At that instant, he appeared to have become a little older. Tang stood prettily at the side of the square. Her tall figure was exceptionally alluring. Her eyes were also similarly focused on the stone stage. Both of her hands were tightly clenched. The pill refinement had entered the intermediate stage. She hoped that nothing Xun'er would happen. Time swiftly flowed by amid everyone's expectations. Another day passed in the blink of an eye. The 8th portions of pill refinement had reached the final step. At this moment, the medicinal ingredients that had been suspended in the air above the stone stage were completely poured into the medicinal cauldron. Powerful fire affinity energy filled the surroundings, causing the air to feel a little distorted. The silver-colored flame within the medicinal cauldron had become much fiercer. A dragon roar was repeatedly being emitted from within, after which it rose in a vast and mighty manner while spreading over the entire valley. The expressions of Xiao Yan's 3-man group were exceptionally serious at this moment. If they were unable to pass this barrier, this current pill refinement attempt would completely fail you. To the old me has completed the medicinal ingredient refinement. The subsequent merger is up to the 2 of you. Tang Zhen's eyes glanced at Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan. His expression was solemn as he cued his hands and informed them in a deep voice the remaining task no longer concerned him. Whether this pill refinement succeeded or not would depend on Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan. Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan clenched their teeth and nodded upon hearing this. They immediately focused their minds. 8 tiny lights were suspended within the jade-green glow inside the medicinal cauldron. Soupy medicinal fragrances repeatedly spread from the lights. These were the medicinal liquids that had been formed after the fusion of nearly 100 types of medicinal ingredients. Xiao Yan's current task was to completely fuse these 8 clusters together in the next 9 days. If his fusion failed, the pill refinement this time around would naturally end up in failure. At that time, he could forget about the skyfire. 3 mysterious change. Xiao Yan suddenly clenched his fists when he thought of this. This time around, he was only allowed to succeed. He could not fail. Xiao Yan's mind was focused on the 8 tiny lights suspended within the jade-green glow. Some liquid or powder-like substances were vaguely revealed within the light clusters. After Xiao Yan's 9 days of merging all the pure medicinal strengths, these 8 clusters of pure medicinal liquid contain the medicinal might of nearly 20 medicinal ingredients gathered together. Zan let out a deep breath. He exchanged glances with Grandmaster Huan on the opposite side. The both of them immediately shut their eyes as majestic spiritual strengths surged out and entered the medicinal cauldron. The solemn expression on Tang Zhen's face became more apparent as he sensed the actions of these two. The success or failure of this pill refinement would depend on Xiao Yan's and Grandmaster Huan's subsequent performance. Xiao Yan's spiritual strength charged into the jade-green light circle in a turbulent manner. A thought passed through his mind, and 2 drops of colorful liquid immediately descended before beginning to slowly merge. A ripple was formed on the surface following the contact of these 2 droplets of medicinal liquid. This was a kind of resistance that was created before these 2 types of medicinal strength were merged. Xiao Yan needed to use it to find the equilibrium point between the 2. Only then would he be able to merge them perfectly together. This kind of merger required extreme precision of one's spiritual strength. If any mistake were to occur along the way, it would lead to the failure of the merger. Xiao Yan's spiritual strength transformed into a countless number of tiny lines that spread over every inch of the 2 droplets of medicinal liquid. Any slight changes within would be immediately noticed by Xiao Yan. The first step of the merger was extremely troublesome. However, it was fortunate that Xiao Yan was extremely experienced. Additionally, he had a great amount of spiritual strength. These 2 types of medicinal liquids were at a stalemate for around an hour. While his spiritual strength maintained a stable pressure, only after that period of time did the merger really begin. Although this was extremely slow, it was only a matter of time before completion time swiftly flew by. During the quiet refinement, around 3 hours or so later, 2 droplets of colorful liquid were finally merged together. They transformed into a brilliant-colored viscous liquid that was gently suspended within the jade-green light circle. Xiao Yan sighed in relief when he saw that the merger had succeeded. A thought passed through his mind, and a black-colored powder-like substance flew down it, slowly fell into the brilliant-colored viscous liquid. The merger of the medicinal ingredients. Essence was an extremely time-consuming step. One must not feel the least bit of anxiety during this period of time, otherwise a slight error would result in the failure of the merger. Moreover, it would cause the precious medicinal ingredient to turn into waste. However, it was fortunate that everything was proceeding very smoothly on Xiao Yan's side, and he was exceptionally careful because the failure or success of this pill refinement would determine whether or not he would be able to obtain the Skyfire 3 mysterious flame following the flow of time. The 8 tiny lights within the jade-green light circle were slowly merged under Xiao Yan's control. Tang Zhen focused his eyes on the medicinal cauldron on the stone stage. Every single action within it was swiftly captured in his mind. This Yan Sha is indeed extraordinary. Not only is he able to maintain his merger speed, but he was able to merge then without the slightest error. Moreover, his spiritual strength is also exceptionally vast and mighty. It is many times stronger than Grandmaster Huan, who was also a Tier S alchemist with Tang Zhen's ability. He was naturally able to tell that Xiao Yan's spiritual strength was much stronger than Grandmaster Huan's spiritual strength. Tang Zhen's eyes once again turned to Grandmaster Huan. While this thought flashed through his heart, all he ended up seeing was his somewhat pale face. His heart immediately sank. It seemed that merging the medicinal strength within this 9-dragon lightning flame had exhausted him. Although Tang Zhen was worried there was nothing that he could do at this moment, he could not substitute him midway through. Hence, all he could do was pray that Grandmaster Huan would be able to endure until the end. Due to some of the changes on the stone stage, the people present were all clearly aware that Tang Zhen had already completed his role. Now it was up to Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan on if they were able to successfully merge their respective portions of medicinal strengths. The pill refinement this time around would likely succeed. However, if anything happened to either one of them, it was likely that this pill refinement would end in failure. I wonder if that Xiao Yan is able to endure until the end. These 9 days have likely exhausted a great amount of his spiritual strength. An alchemist grandmaster fondled his beard as he slowly wailed aloud. They have already lasted until the stage. It would really be too regretful if any mistake occurs. Another alchemist grandmaster opened his mouth and replied. Those around him nodded with the same thought. Xiao Yan does not show any signs of becoming weary. Instead, Huan Fang, his spiritual strength is clearly beginning to weaken. An old man standing right at the front suddenly sighed as he added his thoughts. The surrounding immediately became silent when everyone heard his words. There was some dullness on everyone's faces. By putting it in this manner, did that not mean that this Xiao Yan was even better than Grandmaster Huan? No one knew just what to say the instant this ridiculous thought flashed through their hearts. Because this old man was the other external elder from the Pill Tower, his eyesight was far greater than all of theirs. Hence, none of them dared to open their mouths and question him. However, they still quietly muttered in their hearts. Clearly, they did not quite believe him. The old man was too lazy to bother with the mentality of these people. His eyes looked at the stone stage, and a slight expression of worry was present in his eyes based on his senses. Huan Fang's spiritual strength was indeed weakening. Things would be quite bad if this went on. Hopefully, he will be able to endure refining a tear. 7 high-grade medicinal pill is indeed a little too straining for Huan Feng. Time swiftly flowed by during this merger. The medicinal strength merger of Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan gradually reached the end under the countless number of eyes. The natural energy on the tall stage gradually became wild and violent in the face of this violence. An unusually dense medicinal fragrance quietly spread out, causing the attention of anyone sniffing it to focus. Tang Zhen and everyone became more awake as they sensed the change on the tall stage was the merger by these two people about to be completed. Xiao Yan's expression was unchanging in the face of the many anxious eyes focusing on him. He did not dare to relax his mind even a little after this long period of merger. This face contained a thread of a faint pale whiteness. However, this was nothing too serious on the other hand. Grandma's Huan's condition was much worse. His face had turned completely white. However, he still continued to tightly clench his teeth without giving up fuse as the density of the medicinal fragrance on the tall stage increased. Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan opened their eyes at almost the same time. Their mouths emitted a cry as their hand seals quickly changed after the change in their hand. Seals, the spiritual strength within the medicinal cauldron, also changed. The pressure surged and completely merged all the medicinal liquid together. A green and a red glow suddenly surged within the medicinal cauldron. The instant they merged, they were just like light pillars, as they reached 100 m. In height, the two waves of medicinal fragrances had reached the limit of their density the moment the intense glow surged. At this moment, everyone present revealed a joyous expression. Has the merger succeeded? Tang Hunk's tensed heart had finally relaxed while she stood on the edge of the square. An alluring smile also surfaced on her pretty face. Tang Zhen suddenly stood up on the stone stage at this moment. The joy on his face was difficult to hide. However, he was not a reckless person. He knew that the pill refinement was still not a complete success. He cued his hands to Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan. He said the medicinal ingredients have been completely merged together. Next will be the most important pill formation. Xiao Yan slightly tilted his head. He glanced at Grandmaster Huan. He was involuntarily startled when he saw the other party's expression. He inquired somewhat hesitatingly, "Grandmaster Huan, can you still continue?" Huan Fun braced his attention upon hearing Xiao Yan's words. He waved his hand and laughed. Relax, although he spoke in this manner, his expression was not too convincing. Nevertheless, since Grandmaster Huan had said this, Xiao Yan was naturally unable to say anything else. If he did not possess the glazed lotus heart flame to protect his body, it was likely that he would have ended up in a similar state as Huan Fang. Tang Zhen also sensed that Huan Fang's condition was not quite right at this moment. However, he did not have time to think of anything else. All he could do was clench his teeth and say, "Please proceed. If the merged medicinal strength is left alone for too long, it will end up affecting the chances of successfully refining the pill." Xiao Yan and Grandmaster Huan nodded. They inhaled a deep breath of air and their hand seals changed. One could see the green-red glow within the medicinal cauldron suddenly soar immediately. It transformed into a two-rainbow glow that appeared in front of everyone's eyes. These two glows heavily collided in the middle of the medicinal cauldron. The two droplets of liquid that had been formed from the medicinal strength of nearly any types of medicinal ingredients emitted a deep sound. The instant they collided immediately, a circular and unusually powerful energy ripple erupted from them. The ripple collided with the medicinal cauldron's walls, emitting a clear sound due to the spiritual strength being mixed with the medicinal liquid. Xiao Yan emitted a moan during this collision. His body also slightly shook. Xiao Yan was able to endure this energy shock, but Grandmaster Huan, who was currently at his limits, appeared just like the last straw that caused a camel to collapse. His face immediately turned pale white as a mouthful of fresh blood was wildly spat out. The entire place immediately turned silent as everyone looked at Grandmaster Huan, who suddenly spat out blood and collapsed. The smile that had just appeared on Tang Zhen's and Tang Huo's faces slowly stiffened. Everyone knew just what kind of consequences would occur if something were to happen to the alchemist at this moment. "Is it still going to fail?" Tang Zhen muttered to himself. His face appeared to have become much older in an instant. Outside the square, Tang Huo's face had also turned snow white. A sorrow vaguely materialized in her pretty eyes. Did this mean that fate had decreed the end of her life? Xiao Yan was stunned as he stared at Grandmaster Huan, who had collapsed. He swiftly recovered. An instant later, his gaze suddenly turned to the medicinal cauldron. If this pill refinement ended up failing, he could forget about the Skyfire. 3 mysterious change would all his effort really come to. Not at this final moment. An unwillingness and a ruthless expression immediately surged into his eyes when he thought of this. The entire square was quiet. Everyone's eyes carried incomparable regret as they looked at Grandmaster Huan, who had fainted on the ground after having endured for 10 days. No one expected that it would end up in a failure. At the last moment, 2 red-green glows were interacting with each other within the medicinal cauldron. Rich medicinal fragrances spread over the entire square. However, it no longer caused people to feel relaxed as it had earlier. Instead, everyone felt their hearts become extremely heavy. Tang Zhen's eyes were dull as he looked at the medicinal cauldron. His defeated expression was unbearable to look at. A giant-like person was revealing such an emotion. It was really heartbreaking. At the edge of the square, Tang Huo's pretty face had also turned white. A moment later, she let out a grieving smile. Her lovely body staggered a little. The few disciples from the burning flame valley behind her hurriedly stepped forward to support her. The entire square was completely silent. That solemn atmosphere caused everyone to feel extremely pressured. No one dared to open their mouths to speak. At this moment, the silent and pressurizing atmosphere continued for a while before a low, deep voice suddenly sounded, breaking the pressurizing silence of the square. As it did, Valley Chief Tang, may I continue the refinement? Even though Tang Zhen was in a dispirited state, he involuntarily raised his head in shock when he heard these words. He looked at Xiao Yan's serious face before slightly widening his mouth. Some hope had suddenly surged from the despair in his heart. "Young friend Xiao Yan, are you able to refine this fire Bhatva pill alone?" Xiao Yan slowly shook his head. They really thought too highly of him. Even with his current self, there was likely an extremely low chance of success when refining a Tier 7 high-grade medicinal pill. Nevertheless, it was at least better than simply sitting and doing nothing if we continue the refinement. There is perhaps still a chance, however. If we give up now, we will have completely failed. Xiao Yan's eyes bore down on Tang Zhen. His eyes possessed the vigor of a young person. His experience during these years had created Xiao Yan's tough character. He had seldom mentioned the words, "give up," if he had given up. Midway through these 20-plus years of training, it was likely that he would be unable to escape from being the trash of the Xia clan, much less reach the stage he was currently at. Tang Zhen's heart was slightly shaken when he sensed Xiao Yan's searing hot eyes. His gaze turned to the green-red glow that was being emitted from the medicinal cauldron. After a brief moment of hesitation, he finally clenched his teeth and spoke in a deep voice, "Young friend Xiao Yan." Since you have put it this way, please proceed. No one will blame you, even if it ends up failing. A smile surfaced on Xiao Yan's face when he heard Tang Jenk reply, after which he slightly nodded. Valley Chief Tang, please help guard me. Do not allow anyone to interrupt me. I will try my best. Fate will determine whether I end up succeeding. Xiao Yan spoke in a solemn manner. He immediately shut his eyes slowly, and the seals formed by his hands rapidly changed the spiritual strength between his brows, swept out without being held back. Immediately, it was just like an endless tide as it surged into the fiery red medicinal cauldron. Tang Zhen straightened his body slightly when he saw Xiao Yan begin to act. The defeated expression on his face was swiftly withdrawn. His body gradually rose into the sky while his stern eyes swept around him. Finally, he commanded in a deep voice, from now on, no one is allowed to enter anywhere within 100 feet of the stone stage. The hearts of the disciples from the Burning Flame Valley coldly shivered when they sensed the sternness within Tang Jenk. Words immediately, they cued their hands together and acknowledged the order, after which they gradually stepped back without creating even the slightest noise. All the alchemist Grandmaster on the platform were stunned when they saw this scene. Their mouths involuntarily parted after having understood something, that Xiao Yan was actually thinking of refining the fire bhatva pill alone. Although only the final pill formation step was left in this pill refinement, it was definitely not something that he would be able to achieve. It should be known that a person who could refine a Tier 7 high-grade medicinal pill was quite rare even in the pill tower. Although everyone was full of disbelief, they did not dare to randomly open their mouths after seeing the sternness on Tang Zhen's face in the sky. All they could do was hide their doubt deep in their hearts. Xiao Yan's face had a solemnness that was never seen before as he stood on the stone stage. His spiritual strength controlled every inch of the medicinal cauldron. That was why he was able to sense the frightening aspect of a high-grade Tier 7 medicinal pill. The medicinal strength contained within it had reached a terrifying degree. It could even cause the natural energy around to fluctuate. If not for this mountain-melting cauldron, it was likely that the external natural energy would have become disordered. Spiritual strength poured out and completely wrapped the green-red glow within the cauldron. Immediately it separated into a countless number of energy strings that slowly merged into the two clusters of light. The spiritual strength had just invaded the two clusters of light when Xiao Yan's body abruptly shook the green and the red. Viscous droplets might be small, but they contained the strength of 100 rare medicinal ingredients. Moreover, all of these medicinal ingredients had grown over a long period of time. Currently, their medicinal strengths had been merged together. This was sufficient to tell just how dense the medicinal strength within these two droplets of viscous liquid were. Perhaps it was due to the two viscous liquids having made contact, but the medicinal strength within them appeared exceptionally wild and violent. It was extremely difficult for the fusion to proceed. Moreover, the wild and violent medicinal strength was emitting a repulsion that attempted to push away the other party. Xiao Yan was quiet for a moment before he discovered that the medicinal strength within the two droplet of medicinal liquid did not show any retardation. Instead, they became even more intense. The gap between them was also slowly growing. If this continues, forget about fusion. Even getting them to make contact would be an exceptionally difficult task. This troublesome matter was something that Xiao Yan was meeting for the first time during all these years of medicinal pill refinement. It was not this troublesome even when he was refining a pill back then at the Inner Academy, of course. That was because Xiao Yan had entered a mysterious condition at that time. Currently, he did not possess such good luck. Thus, he could only rely on his own abilities. Continuing in this manner is also not a solution. Xiao Yan let out a deep breath as he sensed the intense resistance being transmitted from his spiritual strength, which was wrapped around the two droplets of liquid. A thought passed through his mind, and one could sense the spiritual strength that permeated the interior of the medicinal cauldron. Surge out. Finally, it crazily suppressed the two droplets of liquid. A deep, solemn noise sounded within the medicinal cauldron under the full strength of Xiao Yan's spiritual suppression. The two green-red droplets that had just parted were ruthlessly pressed together. However, they did not become calm as a result. Instead, an even fiercer retaliation erupted. An instant later, wave after wave of unusually fierce energy ripples spread from the two drops each time they collided against Xiao Yan's spiritual strength. They would cause his body to slightly tremble after so many years of having refined pills. "I don't believe that I cannot resolve you two little things today." Xiao Yan was also a little angered by the retaliation of the liquid energy. His heart turned fiercer, and the majestic spiritual strength within the medicinal cauldron immediately agglomerated into a spiral form. It began to wildly spin, following the spiritual strength transformation into a fast rotating spiral. The pressure from it suddenly soared. The green and red liquids slowly made contact amid this fierce pressure, after which they were forcefully kneaded together. A thought passed through Xiao Yan's mind the moment these two droplets of liquid were kneaded together. The soaring pressure was immediately reduced. At the same time, a jade-green flame appeared from nowhere, swallowing the green-red liquid. The increase and reduction of the pressure as well as the release of the flame were perfectly controlled by Xiao Yan. If any mistake were to occur during this period of time, it would result in the loss of some medicinal strength, and it would end up reducing the chances of successfully refining the pill. Although Xiao Yan had kneaded the two droplets of liquid together, it had also exhausted Xiao Yan's spiritual strength. However, he was currently not considering all this. His spiritual strength was continuously inserted into the green-red liquid, after which he captured all of the slight changes within it. From this, he began to carefully control the pressure and the flame's temperature. There was complete silence outside of the stone stage. Tang Jens looked at Xiao Yan's trembling body. His heart was raised to his throat as a result, especially when he saw Xiao Yan's expression gradually turned pale. Even with Tang Jen's calmness, he could not help but feel his heartbeat increased. However, it was fortunate that the trembling of Xiao Yan's body did not continue for long before it gradually calmed at this time. Tang Jen sensed a jade-green flame suddenly appear within the medicinal cauldron. His eyes looked over, and he saw the green-red liquid slowly churning within the flames. There was even the vague signs of a liquid solidifying. This scene was not unfamiliar to Tang Jen. He knew that this was the precursor to the formation of a pill. His heartbeat suddenly quickened, an excited expression also involuntarily surfaced on his face. He had never expected Xiao Yan to rely on his own abilities to complete the final step. Tang Jen might view olive in an easy and relaxing matter from the outside. But Xiao Yan had put in a great amount of effort into it. If his spiritual strength did not far exceed those alchemists of the same tier, he would definitely not be able to complete such a difficult task. Even though this was the case, it had also caused his mighty soul to gradually show some signs of weakening. Xiao Yan inhaled a deep breath of air in his heart. He forcefully suppressed the weak feeling within his soul, and he focused his mind on controlling the fire temperature and spiritual pressure under the repeated grilling of the jade-green flame and the moderate spiritual strength suppression. The green-red liquid gradually solidified. The silence within the square continued for an entire day and night. During this period of time, the place was dead quiet. Not even the slightest sound appeared. However, no one left during this period of time. Everyone's eyes were focused on the stone stage. Everyone really wanted to know whether this extremely young man would be able to complete this final step or not. A ray of morning light suddenly scattered from the sky and broke the dark night in the mountain valley. The natural energy within the enormous burning flame valley suddenly began to fluctuate the instant this ray of morning light appeared. Tang Jen, who was seated cross-legged on the stone stage, suddenly opened his eyes. His gaze revealed a wild joy as he looked at the center of the stone stage. A pill fragrance suddenly scattered from the medicinal cauldron. Rumbled dark clouds suddenly appeared in the sky without any forewarning. The moment Tang Jen opened his eyes, lightning rolled within the dark clouds. Silver snakes flowed all over, producing a shocking and mighty sound as they moved. Thick, dark clouds gathered in the sky above the valley. The ray of morning light that had just appeared on the horizon was blocked by the clouds. Within an instant, the entire valley had become exceptionally dark. Only when the silver-colored lightning cut through the dark clouds with a valley below. Light up, the medicinal fragrance on the stage had reached a peak saturation, When dark clouds gathered in the sky, even the surrounding natural energy of the stone stage was drawn by this pill fragrance, emitting a slight vibration. As it did so, a jade-green flame fiercely burned within the medicinal cauldron. A green-red spherical medicinal pill was slowly rotating in the air above the flame. A shocking energy was repeatedly being emitted from it. The energy collided with the walls of the medicinal cauldron, emitting a clanging metallic sound. Xiao Yan looked at the medicinal pill that was rotating within the medicinal cauldron. A smile involuntarily surfaced on his pale, white face. His eyelids were slowly shut, and a fatigue spread from his soul, causing him to feel a little giddy. The pill formation this time around had really exhausted him a little too much. If his will has not supports him from within his heart, it was likely that he would have found it difficult to succeed the thunderbolt that cut through the dark clouds within the sky, lit up Xiao Yan's pale face. He appeared exceptionally frail. Everyone knew that he had used up all of his strength once they saw his condition. Young friend Xiao Yan, air thanks does not do a great favor. Justice leave the pill lightning to the old me, you can rest for a while. Tang Zhen woke up from his excited state. He hurriedly spoke with his hands cued together when he saw the frail condition of Xian. Tang Zhen was just about to fight with his so-called pill lightning after speaking these words when he suddenly heard Xiao Yan panting, "Valley Chief Tang, leave the matter of the pill lightning to me." Tang Zhen was startled when he heard this. He hurriedly said, "Young friend Xiao Yan, rest assured that this pill lightning won't be able to harm the old me. How can you still receive this pill lightning in your current condition?" Of course, I am aware that you can receive the pill lightning, however, my earth demon puppet still requires the pill lightning to refine its body. Xiao Yan rolled his eyes and muttered in his heart. He immediately waved his hand, and the bright silver earth demon puppet appeared with a flash. He glanced at Tang Zhen and softly laughed. "Valley Chief Tang, this pill lightning is useful to me. Please do not snatch it away from me after the refinement by the pill lightning. Last time the strength of the earth demon puppet had undoubtedly risen. If it were to undergo another refined, it was likely that the might of the earth demon puppet would increase again. This thing was a top-notch fighter for Xiao Yan. It would naturally be best if its strength could increase." Tang Zhen was startled when he saw the earth demon puppet. That appeared a surprise immediately flashed through his eyes as he exclaimed, "Puppet!" With Tang Zhen's eyesight, he was naturally able to identify the earth demon puppet at a glance. Xiao Yan did not feel any surprise about this. He raised his head. Head looked at the dense, dark clouds in the sky and nodded. "Since young friend Yan Sha insists on doing so, I will allow your puppet to face the pill lightning. You can just voice any concerns if anything happens later." Although he was unaware of why Xiao Yan had such confidence in his puppet. This pill lightning was ultimately something that Xiao Yan had summoned, and Tang Zhen was unable to comment too much. Moreover, Xiao Yan had already done him a massive favor by helping him successfully find the fire Botva pill. Tang Zhen would naturally not say too much about such a small matter. Xiao Yan smiled and nodded. His eyes looked to the sky. He weakly raised his hand and softly said, "Go." The order had just sounded when the earth demon puppet's feet violently stomped on the ground. Its body rose like a rocket and paused in midair. The thick, dark clouds were emitting lightning's might around a couple 100 feet above its head, the surprise in Tang Zhen's eyes. Of voluntarily increased in intensity when he saw that the earth demon puppet was able to remain suspended in the air like an elite. Doing his heart let out a praise. He discovered that he appeared to be unable to see through this extremely young man. Not only did this person possess a heavenly flame, but he also possessed such a great achievement in terms of pill refinement. Now he had even took out a puppet that was comparable to an elite Dung. All of this caused Xiao Yan's identity to become much more mysterious. All of the changes on the stone stage were captured by the eyes of those present, especially the case when they saw Xiao Yan summon a silver-colored human figure that flew into the sky. All of them were stunned due to a puppet not possessing any breath. Some of those with sharper senses could tell what it was after probing it. It is actually a puppet. Does Xiao Yan intend to use this puppet to block the pill lightning? The pill lightning formed by a high-grade Tier 7 medicinal pill, as not child's play. Even 5-star and above expert Dung will barely be able to block it. Can that puppet receive it? Everyone present felt really uncertain about Xiao Yan due to his earlier shocking performance. However, everyone learns to be a little better behaved. They did not dare to randomly ridicule him because everyone knew that this young man, who appeared much younger than all of them, possessed an achievement far from what they could compare with. Although this was quite harsh to these alchemist grandmasters, it was after all the truth. They would not be able to escape it regardless of how difficult it was for them to accept it. Since they could not escape, they could only forcefully accept it. Of course, they were not the only ones who possessed such thoughts. The Burning Flame Valley disciples around the square were unable to make heads or tails of Xiao Yan's actions. If Shan was at his peak, they might still believe him if he wanted to receive the pill lightning. However, he was completely spent. Forget about receiving the pill lightning. Even a random Burning Flame Valley disciple would be able to defeat him at this moment. What is father thinking? Although that puppet will receive the pill lightning, it is clear that it is connected to Xiao Yan. If the puppet is destroyed by the pill lightning, Xiao Yan will suffer an injury as a result. With his current condition, it is very difficult for him to receive such a blow. Tang Huo's eyebrows were vertical. As she studied the silver-colored figure in the sky, she involuntarily and softly muttered to herself. Xiao Yan was unconcerned about the numerous doubtful eyes around the square. He also did not do anything about them because the dark clouds in the sky had unleashed their might after a brewing period. A loud, thunderous roar continuously rumbled. I wonder if the Earth Demon puppet will advance in GR after absorbing this pill. Lightning? Xiao Yan muttered to himself. The Earth Demon puppet was divided into 3 grades. The Man, Earth, and Sky grade. When the puppet was initially refined, it was mixed between the lowest Man grade and Earth grade, however. After being refined by the pill lightning, once it had leapt into the Earth grade, just a mere Earth grade. Earth Demon puppet was able to fight a 5 to 6 star Dung if it was the highest grade Sky Demon puppet. It was likely that it would possess the ability to fight even in the face of an elite Dozun a dozen class puppet. Xiao Yan's heart involuntarily turned fiery hot when he thought about this. It gradually calmed down. It was definitely not so easy to reach the Sky grade. This kind of thing must be taken slow. Thunder suddenly exploded across the sky when this thought appeared in Xiao Yan's head. Immediately, one could see a thigh-thick silver bolt of lightning tearing through the dark clouds like a silver giant python, after which it rushed toward the medicinal cauldron on the stone stage in a lightning-like fashion. A thought rushed through Xiao Yan's heart when the silver lightning shot out. The Earth Demon puppet in the sky immediately rushed down. It appeared on the stone stage, widened its arms, and allowed the silver-colored bolt to violently smash into its body. Silver lightning struck the body of the puppet, while an unusually deep, muffled sound appeared. This sound caused everyone's hearts to suddenly jump. The body of the Earth Demon puppet was pushed down by this silver lightning bolt by nearly 10 m. Only then did it forcefully stabilize its body. At this moment, a countless number of silver-colored lightning arcs were flashing as they repeatedly entered its body. If it was an ordinary person, it was likely that their skin would have split open long ago. However, the Earth Demon puppet did not feel anything. Instead, its shriveled body was gradually becoming stronger as the lightning entered it. It is actually absorbing the energy of the pill lightning. Tang Zhen looked at the puppet, which was fine despite having been struck by the silver lightning. It was instead absorbing the strength of the bolt. A surprised expression involuntarily flashed across Tang Zhen's eyes when he did. After a silver bolt of lightning was easily received by the Earth Demon puppet, the dark clouds in the sky began to intensely churn. An instant later, another 3 lightning bolts, even stronger than the first one, rushed down from the dark clouds. The rumbling sound of explosions followed. Faced with these 3 sil bolts, the Earth Demon puppet did not hesitate even a little under Xiao Yan's control. It appeared just like a lightning rod, attracting the 3 silver bolts of lightning to its body. The Earth Demon puppet fell under the fierce strike of the 3 silver lightning. It smashed into the ground. Both of its feet were inserted deep into the hard rock ground. However, it rose. After the silver lightning scattered, its entire body was emitting a dazzling silver glow as it floated into the air, appearing just like a majestic war god that would never fall the pill. Lightning appeared to have become angered in the face of this provocation by the Earth Demon puppet. It repeatedly spat out enormous bolts of lightning from the dark clouds, after which it appeared like a machine gun as they were back into the Earth Demon puppet body. With a crackling sound, this spectacular scene caused those viewing it to feel their breathing turn sluggish. Xiao Yan's eyes looked at the Earth Demon puppet that was smashed down again and again by the pill light inning in the sky before it would rise again. A smile filled with anticipation involuntarily surfaced on his face. He wondered just how much stronger the Earth Demon puppet would become after being refined by the pill lightning. This time around, Xiao Yan's heart was filled with anticipation when he thought of this silver lightning rammed down from the sky covered in dark clouds. They rapidly materialized from all over the sky. The entire sky slightly shook. At this moment, the dim valley appeared like it was daytime because of the continuously flashing silver lightning. A loud, rumbling sound resounded unceasingly over the entire valley. A bright silver-colored figure floated in the sky amid the pouring of the silver lightning from all over it, attracted the surrounding silver lightning to itself. Each silver bolt of lightning that fell from the sky would forcefully cause the silver-colored figure to descend because of the enormous strength present within each bolt. The muffled sound that was emitted when the two made contact caused some people's heads to turn numb. If it was an ordinary person forcefully receiving the blows head-on, they would have turned into a piece of charcoal. Xiao Yan's eyes intently stared at the Earth Demon puppet suspended in the sky. Permitted by lightning bolts due to the connection between the two of them, he was able to vaguely sense that the strength of the Earth Demon puppet was gradually rising. Amid these silver strikes, the Earth Demon puppet was unable to use do skills. However, it possessed an extreme, terrifying physical body. This physical body would not only not be destroyed under the smashing pill lightning, but would actually end up absorbing the lightning strength within it, strengthening its body, that did not feel any pain. The pill lightning that is created by a high-grade Tier 7 medicinal pill, as indeed extremely strong, even with the strength of the Earth Demon puppet, one would be barely able to block it. However, it is fortunate that the Earth Demon puppet is able to absorb the strength of the lightning bolt and allow it to gradually get used to the pill lightning. Otherwise, even if it did not feel any pain, it would still be unable to endure after being struck by so many silver bolts of lightning. Xiao Yan glanced at the ferocious, thick layer of dark clouds that did not disappear for a long time. He then involuntarily shook his head and softly muttered to himself, "However it will be soon, the speed at which the pill lightning is descending is clearly inferior to its earlier peak. What a strange puppet. It is likely that this puppet's fighting strength alone would not be inferior to that of a 7-star Dozong. Moreover, from the looks of it, this puppet can still absorb lightning power to strengthen itself. If this continues and it ends up experiencing a couple more pill lightning, it is likely that even an elite Dozon will not be able to do anything to it on the stone stage." Tang Genin revealed the surprise in his eyes as the Earth Demon puppet remained unharmed in the face of so much silver lightning. Such a puppet was something that he had rarely encountered, even with his experience. It is really unexpected that Xiao Yan is able to receive this pill lightning by just relying on this puppet. This young person really causes one to feel continuously surprised. Tang Gen let out a soft sigh in his heart. He naturally sensed that the shocking pill lightning in the sky was gradually approaching its end. Of course, many people present also had such thoughts. Everyone was clearly aware of the might of the pill lightning formed by a high-grade Tier 7 medicinal pill. Each time a medicinal pill of such a tier was born, one would require a couple of elite Dozong to join hands to provide protection during this final pill lightning. However, the pill lightning that had given quite a number of alchemists a headache was easily received by a puppet that Xiao Yan had summoned. This naturally caused quite a number of people to be filled with disbelief. If word of this were to spread, it was likely that even some alch gurus would be interested in it after all, as long as one possessed this strange puppet. One would no longer need to worry about pill lightning when refining pills in the future. Another loud, thunderous roar resounded over the sky, while various thoughts were churning through everyone present. A 5-foot large silver lightning bolt cut through the sky with a crackling sound, appearing just like a silver dragon. As it did, it ruthlessly smashed into the Earth Demon puppet. This powerful collision ruthlessly smashed the Earth Demon puppet down. It immediately landed in the square rock fragments, shot out, revealing an enormous pit that was over 100 feet in size. Numerous arm-thick crack lines repeatedly spread out like a spider web around the deep pit. This sudden and unexpected change caused the many Burning Flame Valley's disciples to hurriedly withdraw as though they had suffered. They immediately looked at the enormous pit and inhaled a deep breath of cool air. The thick, dark clouds in the sky Yuli ceased churning after emitting this strong silver bolt of lightning, after which it swiftly thinned. Numerous light rays penetrated through the dark clouds, transforming into a countless number of light spots that landed under the Burning Flame Valley, which had just experienced the destruction of pill lightning. The sunlight scattered down and swiftly expelled the darkness within the valley. The shocking lightning's might from earlier swiftly disappeared. As a result, everyone present sighed in relief upon seeing the hill lightning disappear immediately. Numerous gazes were thrown to that enormous deep pit. In union they faced each other. Did it fail at the last moment after having endured so many thunderbolts? Young friend Xiao Yan, are you all right? Tang Zhen was also shocked at the last pill lightning that had erupted. He looked at the deep pit below before turning to Xiao Yan and hurriedly asking. Xiao Yan's expression was as white as a sheet. He waved his hand, but his laughter appeared to without strength. Valley Chief Tang, rest assured. Xiao Yan's hand seals changed after speaking immediately. A deep sound appeared from the deep pit. A silver-colored human figure rose before steadily landing on the stone stage. Xiao Yan's eyes swiftly landed on the Earth Demon puppet in front of him. After this pill lightning refinement, the bright silver color on its body appeared exceptionally pure. It was as though the puppet was made of pure silver, making it extremely eye-catching. Xiao Yan's hand rubbed the Earth Demon puppet. The icy, cool, metallic-like feeling meant its skin was hard. However, the thing that caused Xiao Yan to be somewhat disappointed was that seemed to be unable to find a golden color on the body of the Earth Demon puppet. The demon puppet was separated into 3 grades. Sky Earth and Man. It could be differentiated through the color on its surface. The Man grade was bronze in color, Earth grade was silver in color, and Sky grade was gold in color. Currently, the demon puppet was bright silver in color. Clearly, it was still at the Earth grade when it turned into a golden color. It would finally be truly called the Sky Demon puppet, and not the Earth Demon puppet. Although the puppet did not turn into a golden color, Xiao Yan clearly sensed that the strength of the Earth Demon puppet had risen after this pill lightning refinement. According to his guess, it was likely that the current Earth Demon puppet would be able to barely put up a fight against an old demon. Another loud, thunderous roar resounded over the sky, while various thoughts were churning through everyone present. A 5-foot large silver lightning bolt cut through the sky with a crackling sound, appearing just like a silver dragon. As it did, it ruthlessly smashed into the Earth Demon puppet. This powerful collision ruthlessly smashed the Earth Demon puppet down. It immediately landed in the square rock fragments, shot out, revealing an enormous pit that was over 100 feet in size. Numerous arm-thick crack lines repeatedly spread out like a spider web around the deep pit. This sudden and unexpected change caused the many Burning Flame Valley's disciples to hurriedly withdraw as though they had suffered. They immediately looked at the enormous pit and inhaled a deep breath of cool air. The thick, dark clouds in the sky Yuli ceased churning after emitting this strong silver bolt of lightning, after which it swiftly thinned. Numerous light rays penetrated through the dark clouds, transforming into a countless number of light spots that landed under the Burning Flame Valley, which had just experienced the destruction of pill lightning. The sunlight scattered down and swiftly expelled the darkness within the valley. The shocking lightning's might from earlier swiftly disappeared. As a result, everyone present sighed in relief upon seeing the hill lightning disappear immediately. Numerous gazes were thrown to that enormous deep pit. In union they faced each other. Did it fail at the last moment after having endured so many thunderbolts? Young friend Xiao Yan, are you all right? Tang Zhen was also shocked at the last pill lightning that had erupted. He looked at the deep bit below before turning to Xiao Yan and hurriedly asking Xiao Yan's expression was as white as a sheet. He waved his hand, but his laughter appeared to without strength. Valley Chief Tang, rest assured. Xiao Yan's hand seals changed after speaking immediately. A deep sound appeared from the deep pit. A silver-colored human figure rose before steadily landing on the stone stage. Xiao Yan's eyes swiftly landed on the earth demon puppet in front of him. After this pill lightning refinement, the bright silver color on its body appeared exceptionally pure. It was as though the puppet was made of pure silver, making it extremely eye-catching. Xiao Yan's hand rubbed the earth demon puppet. The icy, cool, metallic-like feeling meant its skin was hard. However, the thing that caused Xiao Yan to be somewhat disappointed was that seemed to be unable to find a golden color on the body of the earth demon puppet. The demon puppet was separated into 3 grades. Sky Earth and Man, it could be differentiated through the color on its surface. The Man grade was bronze in color, Earth grade was silver in color, and Sky grade was gold in color. Currently, the demon puppet was bright silver in color. Clearly, it was still at the Earth grade when it turned into a golden color. It would finally be truly called the Sky Demon Puppet, and not the Earth Demon Puppet. Although the puppet did not turn into a golden color, Xiao Yan clearly sensed that the strength of the Earth Demon Puppet had risen after this pill lightning refinement. According to his guess, it was likely that the current Earth Demon Puppet would be able to barely put up a fight against an old demon. On Fen's level, one might not dare to say that it would defeat the other party, but it would be a threat against Fen. Not like in the past, looks like it is quite difficult for it to advance to the Sky grade. Xiao Yan softly sighed. He was just about to store the Earth Demon Puppet into his storage ring when his hands suddenly trembled. He stared at the empty eyes of the puppet. There was actually a vague, dark, dull golden color at that spot. Golden color. Although this thread of golden color had an extremely weak luster, it was exceptionally obvious in the empty eyes of the Earth Demon puppet. Hence, it did not escape Xiao Yan's notice. Xiao Yan's heart was somewhat excited as his eyes stared intently at the thread of dark golden luster. This golden color was extremely faint. Nevertheless, it caused him to identify the advancement method of the Earth Demon puppet. This method was using the lightning strength within pill lightning to refine the demon puppet's body, strengthening it, and allowing it to achieve the final quality change. Looks like I need to think of a way to allow the demon puppet to absorb pill lightning in the future if it can absorb it, and advance into the Sky stage. It will be a great help to me. After all, this is a true trump card. Moreover, the matter of betrayal will never happen. Xiao Yan suppressed the excitement in his heart, and softly muttered within it. Xiao Yan extended his hand after making up his mind. He returned the Earth Demon puppet in front of him into his storage ring, after which his gaze turned to the interior of the medicinal cauldron. There was a green-red round medicinal pill that was rotating there. The rich pill fragrance it radiated caused one to feel relaxed and happy. As this, the Fire Bee aka pill, Xiao Yan involuntarily smiled as his eyes paused on the green-red medicinal pill within the medicinal cauldron. He flicked his finger, and the cauldron cover AO automatically flew open. Immediately, a green-red glow rushed out of it in a lightning-like manner. It did not pause as it flew into the sky, looking as though it was attempting to flee Valley Chief Tang. "I will leave it to you." Xiao Yan smiled as he observed the medicinal pill that was attempting to flee. A medicinal pill at this tier had already formed some spirituality. It knew how to avoid danger, hence it fled by itself the moment it left the medicinal cauldron. Kang Zhen laughed out loud when he heard Xiao Yan's words. He immediately nodded and grabbed with his palm toward the sky. The space in the fleeing direction of the fire Bhatva pill solidified. The pill collided with it and rebounded. Tang Zhen waved his sleeves, and a suction force surged out. He easily swept the fire Bhatva pill back before he swiftly took out a top-quality jade bottle, after which he stuffed this green-red pill that was still attempting to flee into the bottle. Tang Zhen sighed in relief as he held the jade bottle in his hand, appearing as though he had released a heavy burden. His expression was solemn as he turned to Xiao Yan, cued his hands together, and said in a deep voice, "Young friend Xiao Yan, thank you very much. The old me will remember this favor I was also doing as tasked." Xiao Yan shook his head, and unusually fierce tiredness and frailness suddenly swept out from deep within his soul. Immediately, the area in front of him slowly turned black, causing him to fall from the stone chair head first, without any ability to resist it, a high-grade Tier 7 medicinal pill, as indeed not something so easy to refine. A mutter that carried a bitter laugh sounded within Xiao Yan's heart just before he fell unconscious.